The cage smelled like metal and fear. Hana sat in the corner, her back against the cold wall, and watched the other prisoners. 6 months had passed since the raiders took her from the colony ship. 6 months of being sold, traded, and transported across star systems she didn't know the names of. Now she was here. Wherever here was, the door opened with a hiss. A tall figure entered, nearly 7 feet tall, with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Hana had learned these were called Calrics. This one wore expensive clothing that shimmered under the lights. Behind him walked 2 guards carrying shock weapons. "This is the human?" The tall one spoke in the trade language that Hana had been forced to learn. His voice sounded disappointed. "Yes, Master Vex," one of the guards answered. "From the death world called Earth, Class 12 hazard rating." Vex moved closer to the cage, studying Hana like she was an interesting insect. She stared back at him with empty eyes. She had learned not to show fear. Fear made them hurt you more. "She's so small," Vex said. "Are you certain this is fully grown?" "The traders confirmed it, Master. 19 cycles old. Adult by their species standards." Vex laughed, a sound like grinding stones. "I paid 40,000 credits for this?" "Look at her. No claws, no armor, no fangs, soft skin that tears easily." He turned to his guards. "The trader saw me coming. They sold me a defective product. The Deathworld classification," the guard began. "Means nothing," Vex interrupted. "It means the planet is dangerous, not that this creature is dangerous. Look at it. My mate's pet is more threatening." He waved a hand dismissively. "Take it to the arena cells. Tomorrow she fights in the morning warm-up. 3 opponents should be enough. The crowd will enjoy watching something die quickly." They dragged Hana from the cage and through long corridors. She didn't resist. She had learned that too. Save your energy for when it matters. The arena cells were underground, lit by dim blue lights that hurt her eyes. They threw her into a cell and locked the door. Hana sat down and examined her new prison. The cell was small, maybe 10 feet by 10 feet. A sleeping platform extended from one wall. A water dispenser was built into the corner. Through the bars, she could see other cells holding other prisoners. "You're the human?" A voice came from the cell next to hers. Hana turned to see a reptilian face peering through the bars. The creature had green scales and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. "I am Rin, Talvori species. I have survived 23 matches in this arena." "Hana," she replied quietly. "You are very small for a Deathworld species," Rin observed. "I have heard of humans. They say your world has gravity that would crush most species, that your atmosphere has poison in it, that your planet is covered in predators." "Yes," Hana said simply, "but you look weak, soft, fragile." Hana didn't answer. She had heard this many times. Everyone thought humans looked weak. They always thought that, right up until they learned otherwise. "Tomorrow you fight," Rin continued. "Do you know what that means?" "I can guess. They will put you in the arena with other fighters. You will have weapons available, but you must be fast. The crowd wants blood. They want death. They want entertainment." Rin's voice became softer. "Most fighters die in their first match. I am sorry, small human. You seem kind, but you will die tomorrow." Hana lay down on the sleeping platform and closed her eyes. Maybe hours passed. Hana didn't sleep. She listened to the sounds of the arena complex. Guards walking their routes. Prisoners crying or screaming. Somewhere above, she heard the roar of a crowd. Another match was happening. Someone was dying for entertainment. She thought about Earth, about grass and rain and wind, about her family on the colony ship, probably dead now, about her younger brother who used to make her laugh, about all the things she would never see again. But she didn't cry. Crying didn't help. Crying was a waste of water and energy. Instead, she thought about what was coming. An arena, multiple opponents, weapons available, a crowd watching. She had seen violence before. Earth was a peaceful planet by its own standards, but humans knew what violence was. Every human child learned history, learned about wars and conflicts and survival, learned what their species was capable of when pushed. The raiders who captured her had learned too. 3 of them died before they managed to drug her. They hadn't expected that. They thought humans would be easy to capture because humans looked soft. Morning came. Guards arrived at her cell, different ones from before. They looked bored. One was eating something that smelled terrible. "Time for your match, human," the first guard said. "You're the opening fight." The crowd loves a good quick kill to start the day. They put restraints on her wrists and ankles, then led her through more corridors. She could hear the crowd now. Thousands of voices creating a wall of sound. The noise grew louder as they approached a large door. An arena master stood by the door, a Calrix with scars across his face. His name tag read Grix. He looked at Hana and shook his head. This is the famous human? The Deathworlder? He laughed. Vex wasted his money. This thing won't last 5 minutes against the Korthans. What are Korthans? Hana asked. Bear-like species. 6 feet tall. Dense muscle. Claws, teeth. Violent by nature. Grix smiled cruelly. We have 3 of them who were captured during a raid. They're scheduled to fight each other today, but we'll throw you in first. They'll probably kill you before they even notice each other. Will I have weapons? Hana asked. Weapon racks are scattered around the arena. If you're fast enough to reach them before you die. Grix leaned closer. Here's some advice, human. Die quickly. It hurts less that way. The restraints came off. The door opened. Light and sound poured through. Hana could see the arena floor beyond, a circular space covered in sand. Weapon racks stood at intervals around the perimeter. The walls rose high with thousands of aliens sitting in seats above, all watching, all waiting for blood. Any last words? Grix asked mockingly. Hana looked at him. Her face showed nothing. No fear. No anger. Nothing. Yes, she said quietly. You should have used more than 3. Then she walked through the door into the light, into the noise, into the arena where everyone expected her to die. The crowd saw her and began to laugh. She was so small, so weak-looking, so helpless. The door closed behind her with a final heavy boom. Somewhere in the crowd, Vex sat in his private box, already calculating his losses. Somewhere below, Dr. Nix prepared his medical bay for another body. Somewhere in the cells, Rin whispered a prayer for the small human who seemed kind. And in the arena, Hana walked calmly toward the nearest weapon rack, while across the sand 3 gates began to open, and 3 Korthans emerged, roaring their hunger and rage. The match had begun. The 3 Korthans saw Hana and forgot about each other completely. They were supposed to fight among themselves first, with the survivor earning freedom. But why waste energy on each other when there was such easy prey in front of them? The smallest Korthan, still massive compared to Hana, charged first. He moved fast for his size, covering the distance in seconds. The crowd leaned forward, eager to see the human torn apart. Betting displays updated frantically as final wagers were placed on how quickly she would die. Hana reached the weapon rack. Her hands closed around a metal staff about 6 feet long. She turned just as the Korthan reached her. What happened next made the crowd go silent. Hana moved. Not fast by human standards, but impossibly fast by galactic standards. Most species in the Imperium had evolved on gentler worlds with lighter gravity. Their muscles, their reflexes, their entire bodies were built for easier environments. Earth's crushing gravity had forged something different. The staff swung in a blur. It connected with the Korthan's throat with a wet, crunching sound. The force of the impact was wrong. It was too strong. The Korthan's tough hide should have protected him. Instead, his windpipe collapsed like paper. He fell gasping, drowning in his own blood. 40 seconds had passed since the match began. The crowd remained silent. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. The second Korthan hesitated, confused. His companion had been strong, a proven fighter. How had this small creature killed him so easily? But pride and anger pushed him forward. He approached more carefully, claws extended. Hana didn't wait. She attacked first, moving forward with the staff. The Korthan swiped at her. His claws caught her left arm, tearing through cloth and skin. Blood flowed, bright red under the arena lights. The Korthan expected her to slow down, to go into shock. That's what happened when most species were wounded. Their bodies shut down to conserve energy. But human bodies work differently. Human bodies had evolved to keep fighting even when injured. Adrenaline flooded Hana's system. Her pupils dilated. Her heart rate increased. Her muscles received more oxygen, more energy. She became faster. The staff spun and struck the Korthan's knee. The joint shattered. As he fell, Hana brought the staff down on his spine with both hands, putting her full weight and strength behind it. The spine broke. The Korthan screamed once, then went silent. 2 minutes had passed since the match began. The third Korthan saw his companions dead. He saw the small human standing there, bleeding but still moving. Instinct overrode his pride. He ran toward the exit gate, hoping the arena master would show mercy. Hana threw the staff. It flew like a spear, spinning through the air. The Korthan was 20 meters away. The staff should have fallen short or bounced off harmlessly. Instead, it struck with enough force to punch through his back and emerge from his chest. The Korthan fell forward and didn't move again. 3 minutes had passed since the match began. The arena remained silent for a long moment. Then one person started clapping. Then another. Soon the entire crowd was roaring, not with laughter but with excitement and shock. They had never seen anything like this. In his control room, Grix stared at the screens in disbelief. 3 Korthans dead in 3 minutes. It was impossible. He checked the replays, watching the human's movements, the force of her strikes. Something was very wrong here, but the crowd was excited. Betting was going crazy. People were screaming for more. Grix made a decision that would haunt him. Instead of ending the match, he decided to continue it. More fighters meant more entertainment. More entertainment meant more money. He pressed a button. 5 new gates opened. Hana was walking toward the exit when she heard the gates opening. She turned and saw 5 figures emerge. These were different from the Korthans. Smaller, faster, covered in black chitinous armor. They moved like insects, which made sense because that's what they were. Vrillix assassins captured during a border conflict. The crowd went wild. This wasn't part of the scheduled match, but no one cared. They wanted to see more. The Vrillix spread out, forming a circle around Hana. They were trained killers, experienced fighters who worked as a team. They communicated through clicking sounds, coordinating their attack. 2 would strike from the front while 3 attacked from behind. Hana moved before they could complete their formation. She ran toward the nearest weapon rack, grabbed a short blade in each hand and kept moving. The Vrillix chased her, but she didn't let them surround her again. She used the arena's space, staying mobile, forcing them to chase her. One Vrillix got too close. Hana spun and drove a blade through the gap in his armor at the neck joint. The Vrillix fell, green blood spraying. The others adjusted their tactics, becoming more cautious. They attacked from 2 sides at once. Hana took a slash across her ribs, another on her thigh. But she killed another Vrillix, then a third. The crowd was standing now, screaming. Some were cheering for Hana. Others were screaming for the Vrillix to kill her. The last 2 Vrillix attacked together in a final, desperate rush. Hana was wounded, bleeding from multiple cuts, but human endurance was legendary on Earth. Marathon runners, mountain climbers, soldiers who marched for days. The human body could keep going long after it should have stopped. She killed the 4th Vrillix, then the 5th. 8 minutes had passed since they entered the arena. Hana stood in the center of the arena, surrounded by 8 corpses. Blood covered the sand. Some of it was hers. The wounds hurt, but not as much as they should. Adrenaline was still flooding her system, blocking most of the pain. The crowd was chanting her name, or at least their version of it. Hana, Hana, Hana. They had come expecting to watch a weak human die quickly. Instead, they had witnessed something they didn't understand. Something that terrified and excited them. In the medical bay, Dr. Nix watched the replays on his screen. He was a physician, trained in the biology of 200 species. He understood anatomy, physics, and evolution. He began running calculations based on what he had just witnessed. Earth's gravity was 1.2 times what most species considered standard. That meant human bones were denser, human muscles stronger. Earth's atmosphere had high oxygen content, which powered more efficient metabolism. Earth was full of predators and diseases, which meant human immune systems were aggressive and adaptable. But it was more than that. Nix pulled up files on Earth's history. He read about human evolution, about the countless ways Earth had tried to kill the human species. Disease, predators, climate change, ice ages, volcanic winters, and through it all humans had survived. More than survived. They had thrived. They had become the dominant species on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Nix's hands trembled as he realized the truth. Deathworld didn't just mean the planet was dangerous. It meant the species that evolved there was dangerous. Humans weren't just survivors. They were apex predators, and the Imperium had been capturing them, enslaving them, treating them like harmless curiosities. He tried to contact Grix, to warn him to stop the matches immediately. But Grix wasn't answering. The arena master was too busy counting money and planning the next wave of fighters. On the arena floor, Hana found cloth from a dead Vrillix's clothing. She tore it into strips and wrapped her worst wounds. The cuts were deep but not fatal. She had been hurt worse during survival training on the colony ship. She could keep going. The crowd's chanting continued. Vex sat in his box, his earlier disappointment replaced by greedy calculation. This human was valuable, more valuable than he had imagined. He could make a fortune off her. 10 matches 20. He could charge triple the normal admission. Hana looked up at the crowd. Thousands of aliens staring down at her. She had killed 8 beings in less than 15 minutes. She felt tired. She felt pain. But mostly she felt angry. Angry at being captured. Angry at being sold. Angry at being forced to kill for entertainment. The gate opened again. Grix's voice boomed across the arena through speakers. The human has impressed us, but the match continues. 12 fighters enter now. Place your bets. 12 gates began to open. 12 more fighters were about to enter the arena. The crowd roared its approval. This was the greatest match in the arena's history. Hana picked up a new weapon, a longer blade this time. She took a deep breath. Her hands were steady. Her heartbeat was controlled. She had been fighting for 1 hour. Hour 2 was about to begin. 12 fighters entered the arena from different gates. They were a mix of species, all experienced arena survivors. Some had fought 20 matches. Others had fought 30. They were scarred, brutal, and dangerous. They knew how to kill. They saw the 8 corpses. They saw the small human standing in the center, bleeding but still upright. They understood immediately that this was not going to be easy. Hana didn't wait for them to organize. She attacked first, running toward the nearest fighter, a tall creature with 4 arms and gray skin. The fighter raised his weapons to defend, but Hana was already inside his reach. Her blade found the gap in his armor. He fell. The others rushed forward as a group. Hana moved constantly, never staying in one place. She had learned the arena's layout during the first hour. She knew where every weapon rack was located. She knew which parts of the floor had better traction. She knew where the shadows fell. She used everything. When a fighter cornered her near a wall, she used the wall to push off and flip over him. When 3 fighters attacked together, she threw sand in their faces and struck while they were blind. When a large armored fighter seemed impossible to hurt, she didn't try to pierce his armor. Instead, she broke his legs and let him fall. 20 minutes into hour 2, 3 more fighters were dead. The crowd was beyond excited now. They were witnessing something legendary. Some were already calling Hana the Deathworlder. Others called her the Red Ghost because of all the blood covering her. But the fighters were learning too. They stopped attacking one by one. They started working together, using actual tactics. They communicated, coordinated, tried to trap her. Hana took more wounds. A deep cut on her shoulder. A slash across her face that barely missed her eye. A stab wound in her side that made breathing painful. Any other species would have collapsed by now. Blood loss alone should have been enough. But human biology was designed for persistence. Humans were endurance hunters on Earth. They chased prey until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Human bodies could keep going, keep bleeding, keep fighting far longer than seemed possible. 30 minutes into hour 2, 6 fighters remained. They surrounded Hana in a circle, weapons ready. They attacked all at once. Hana screamed. It wasn't a cry of fear or pain. It was a war cry, something primal from deep in human evolution. A sound that said, "I am dangerous. I am a predator. I will hurt you." The sound shocked the fighters, made them hesitate for just a moment. That moment was enough. Hana killed 2 more before they recovered. Then another. The remaining 3 fighters broke formation and ran in different directions. "We surrender," one shouted in the trade language. "Mercy, we surrender!" The crowd went quiet, confused. Surrenders were rare in the arena. Grix's voice came over the speakers. "There is no surrender. Kill the human or die as cowards." The 3 fighters looked at each other. They looked at Hana, covered in blood, still standing, still holding her weapon. They looked at the corpses surrounding her. They made their choice. They attacked together knowing they would die, but preferring to die fighting than to be executed as cowards. Hana killed them all. The last one fell at minute 53 of hour 2. 18 corpses now lay scattered across the arena floor. Hana stood among them, breathing hard. Blood dripped from dozens of wounds. Her vision was starting to blur at the edges. Even human endurance had limits. She looked up at Grix's control box. She couldn't see him clearly from this distance, but she stared at where she knew he was. Then she smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator showing its teeth. In the control room, Grix felt something cold run down his spine. This human had just killed 18 fighters, many of them experienced warriors, and she was smiling. What kind of creature did that? He made a decision. The match needed to end, but ending it meant sending someone into the arena to restrain the human. That meant risking his guards. Security team to the arena floor, he ordered. Subdue the human. Use shock weapons. Do not kill her. Vex wants her alive. 20 arena guards assembled at the main entrance. They wore full armor and carried shock weapons that could stun most species instantly. They had protocols for this. Escaped fighters, riots, emergencies. They were trained professionals, but they were also people with survival instincts. The lead guard, a veteran named Cross, pulled up the camera feeds on his helmet display. He watched the footage of the past 2 hours. He saw the human move, strike, kill. He saw the efficiency, the speed, the absolute refusal to stay down. Sir, Cross said into his communicator, I need to clarify the order. What's to clarify? Grix's voice came back. Enter the arena and restrain the human. Sir, that human just killed 18 fighters in 2 hours. Killed, not wounded. She's still armed. She's still moving. We enter that arena, some of us aren't coming back. Are you refusing an order? Cross looked at his team. 20 guards all watching the same footage, all doing the same calculations. They could probably subdue the human eventually, but it would cost lives. At least 5, maybe 10 of them would die in the process. Yes, sir, Cross said quietly. I'm refusing the order. I'm not sending my people in there to die for a spectacle. That's mutiny. That's survival, sir. With respect. One by one, the other guards lowered their weapons. They had families. They had lives. They weren't going to die fighting a Deathworlder for entertainment purposes. Grix screamed at them through the communicator, but none of them moved. After a moment, Grix cut the communication. He sat in his control room shaking with rage and something else. Something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. On the arena floor, Hana watched the entrance gate. She had heard the guards assembling. She knew they were coming. She had prepared herself for another fight. But the gate didn't open. She walked slowly to a weapon rack and leaned against it. Her legs were shaking. The adrenaline was starting to fade, and with it came the full weight of pain and exhaustion. She slid down to sit on the sand, her back against the weapon rack. The crowd watched in silence. They didn't know what to think. They had come for entertainment. They had gotten something else entirely. A demonstration of what Deathworld evolution really meant. In his private box, Vex grabbed his communicator. Seal the arena. All gates, lock them. The human doesn't leave until I say so. Heavy doors slammed down over every entrance and exit. Hana was trapped inside. But she was used to being trapped. She had been trapped for 6 months. She closed her eyes and focused on breathing, on staying conscious, on surviving a little longer. In his medical bay, Dr. Nix made a call on an encrypted channel. He shouldn't be doing this. It could cost him his job, maybe his life. But what was happening in the arena was wrong, and he couldn't stand by anymore. The call connected to a human ship in the system. A diplomatic vessel that was supposed to be here for trade negotiations. Nix spoke quickly, giving them the arena's location, telling them about Hana, about what she had endured. Please, he said, come get your human, before Vex kills her or sells her to someone worse. On the human ship, a woman named Gina listened to the transmission. She was part of the security detail. She looked at her commanding officer, a man named Quan. Did you hear that? She asked. Quan nodded slowly. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold. Get the team ready. We're going to get her. In the arena cells below, Rin pressed her face to the bars, watching a monitor that showed the arena floor. She saw Hana sitting there, wounded and exhausted but alive. Rin whispered softly, You survived, small human. Against everything. You survived. The arena lights dimmed slightly as evening approached. Hana sat in the dark, waiting. For rescue. For death. For whatever came next. She had killed 18 beings today. She felt sick about it. But she also felt something else. Something fierce and defiant. She had survived. She was still alive. And if they sent more fighters, she would kill them too. Because that's what humans did. They survived. No matter what. The human ship was called the HSS Fortitude. It was small by military standards, designed for diplomatic missions rather than combat. But every diplomatic ship carried a security detail, and every human security detail was trained to fight. Ambassador Young sat in his quarters reviewing the transmission from Dr. Nix. He was an older man, patient and careful. He had been negotiating trade agreements with the Calrics for 3 months. The negotiations were going well. This incident could ruin everything. But there was a human in that arena, a young woman who had been captured, sold, and forced to kill for entertainment. Young had sworn an oath to protect human citizens no matter where they were. He pressed the communicator. Quan, Gina, report to my quarters immediately. They arrived within minutes. Quan was the security chief, a calm man in his 30s with alert eyes. Gina was his second, younger but no less capable. They stood at attention while Young played them the transmission. We need to get her out, Gina said immediately. Sir, we can't leave her there. I agree, Young said. But we need to try diplomacy first. That's procedure. He made a call to Vex's private channel. Vex's face appeared on the screen, his blue-gray skin looking pale. Ambassador Young, Vex said, trying to sound pleasant. To what do I owe this call? You have a human in your arena. I want her released immediately. Vex's expression hardened. That human is my property, purchased legally under Calric's law. She fights tomorrow in the evening matches. You can buy a ticket like everyone else. Calric's law doesn't apply to human citizens, Young said calmly. Under Imperium Treaty Section 47, all sapient species have the right to contact their own governments when detained. You violated that treaty. The human is a slave. Slaves have no rights. Humans don't recognize slavery. Period. Release her now, or I will take this to the High Council. Vex leaned forward. Do that, take it to the Council. By the time they review the case, your human will have fought a dozen more matches. If she survives that long, he smiled cruelly. Though I think she might. She's quite the fighter. I could make millions off her. Young's calm expression didn't change, but his voice became colder. Vex, I'm going to tell you something important. I'm going to show you something. And then I'm going to give you one last chance. He pressed a button. Files streamed across the communication channel. Videos from Earth, human history, military training, combat sports, footage of human warfare. You think you understand what humans are because you've seen one fight in your arena, Young said, but you don't understand anything. That young woman you're torturing is 19 years old, barely an adult civilian. No combat training beyond basic survival courses, and she killed 18 experienced fighters in 2 hours. More videos played. Human soldiers, human athletes, human martial artists. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world, Young continued. Do you know what that means? It means our planet tried to kill us every single day for millions of years. Disease, predators, climate shifts, ice ages, volcanic winters, asteroid impacts. Our own species nearly went extinct a dozen times, but we survived. More than survived. We became the apex predator of a world full of apex predators. The videos showed human history, wars, conflicts, violence on scales the Calrics had never experienced. We are a peaceful species now, Young said quietly. We chose peace. We chose cooperation. But that choice doesn't make us weak. It makes us disciplined. You have one of our children in your arena, bleeding and traumatized. Release her now, or you will learn what it means when humans stop choosing peace. Vex stared at the screen. For a moment, doubt crossed his face. Then greed won. No, she's mine. The law says so. If you don't like it, file a complaint with the council. He cut the transmission. Young sat back and closed his eyes. He had tried. He had followed procedure. Now he made a different choice. He looked at Quan and Gina. Go get her, he said simply. Try not to kill anyone. But get her out, Quan nodded. Yes, sir. They assembled the team. 4 humans total. Quan, Gina, and 2 other security personnel named Tay and Bora. They wore light armor and carried non-lethal weapons. The plan was simple. Infiltrate the arena, locate Hana, extract her. Try not to start a war. They left the ship at midnight local time. The arena complex was large, but Dr. Nix had sent them building plans. They entered through a maintenance access, moving quietly through dark corridors. The first guard they encountered never had a chance to raise an alarm. Gina moved behind him and put him in a chokehold until he passed out. They tied him up and kept moving. More guards appeared. The humans moved through them like shadows, fast, efficient, utterly silent. They didn't kill anyone, but every guard they met ended up unconscious or restrained. The arena security had never dealt with coordinated human soldiers before. They didn't know what hit them. 8 minutes after entering the complex, they reached the main security station. 12 guards inside, all armed. Quan used a device that hacked the station's systems, causing a false alarm in a different section. 8 guards ran off to investigate. The remaining 4 were overwhelmed in seconds. Quan accessed the security computers. Arena floor is sealed. Hana's still inside. She's alone. Life signs are weak but stable. Can we override the seals? Tay asked. Working on it. Quan's fingers moved across the controls. Calric's security was good, but it wasn't designed to stop human hackers. After 2 minutes, the seals released with a hiss. Got it. Gina, Bora with me. Tay, guard this position. They ran through the corridors, following the building plans. Guards tried to stop them. The guards failed. Human soldiers were trained from the moment they enlisted, trained in combat, tactics, survival. The arena guards were trained to intimidate prisoners, not fight military personnel. They reached the arena floor entrance. The gate opened. They stepped into the massive circular space, lit now only by emergency lights. Bodies lay scattered across the sand. 18 dead fighters, exactly as reported, and in the center, leaning against a weapon rack, was Hana. She looked up as they entered. For a moment, she didn't move, didn't react. She had been alone for so long that seeing other humans felt like a dream. Then Gina ran forward and Hana's eyes filled with tears. It's okay, Gina said softly, kneeling beside her. We're here. We're taking you home. Hana tried to speak but couldn't. She just nodded and started crying. Real crying, the kind she hadn't allowed herself for 6 months. Gina held her gently while Quan checked her wounds. Multiple lacerations, possible internal injuries, severe blood loss, Quan said into his communicator. We need medical ready when we return to the ship. Can you walk? Gina asked Hana gently. Hana nodded and tried to stand. Her legs gave out. Bora caught her and lifted her carefully. I've got you. They moved back through the complex. Alarms were blaring now. More guards were responding. But the path to the exit was clear and the humans moved fast. Behind them, they heard shouting, confusion, panic. They reached the maintenance exit and ran for their transport. Behind them, the arena complex erupted into chaos as Vex and Grix realized what had happened. Vex screamed orders to pursue, but his guards had seen what happened to the others. They moved slowly, carefully, not eager to catch up with the humans. The transport lifted off and flew toward the Fortitude. Hana sat in the back, wrapped in a blanket, still crying. Gina held her hand and didn't say anything. Sometimes silence was better than words. On the ship, Ambassador Young was making calls. Calls to the High Council, calls to human government, calls to every news outlet he could reach. He sent them footage from the arena, evidence of illegal imprisonment, evidence of sapient rights violations, evidence of what had been done to a human citizen. By morning, the story would be everywhere. The Imperium would have to respond, but that was tomorrow's problem. Tonight they had done what mattered. They had brought Hana home. 3 weeks passed. The Fortitude was approaching Earth, the blue-green planet growing larger in the viewports. Hana stood in the observation deck, watching her homeworld for the first time in 7 months. She looked different now. Her wounds had healed, leaving scars that the doctors said would fade with time. She had gained back some of the weight she had lost. Her eyes were clearer, but she was still healing inside. That would take longer. A woman named Mina worked with her every day. Mina was the ship's counselor, trained in helping people recover from trauma. They talked about the arena, about the killing, about the fear and the pain. Mina told Hana that feeling guilty about surviving was normal. That nightmares were normal. That healing took time. Do you think about them? Mina asked during one session. The ones you killed? Every day, Hana said quietly. I see their faces. I know they would have killed me. I know I didn't have a choice. But I still see them. That's good, Mina said. Good. It means you're still human. Still capable of empathy. The arena didn't break that part of you. Hana thought about that. She had been afraid that the killing had changed her into something else, something broken. But maybe she was still herself. Just herself with scars now. While Hana healed, the galaxy was changing. The High Council of the Calrix Imperium met in emergency session. Ambassador Young's evidence had spread across every news network. Everyone had seen the footage. A young human girl, captured and forced to fight. The brutal matches. The 18 dead fighters. The guards refusing to enter. The council was terrified. Not of one human, but of what that one human represented. If one untrained civilian could do that much damage, what could trained human soldiers do? What could a whole army of humans do? The council issued new laws immediately. Any capture, imprisonment, or sale of humans was now a capital crime. Humans were classified as a protected contact species. Any existing humans in captivity were to be released immediately and returned to human authorities. Vex lost everything. His arena was shut down. His assets were frozen. He wasn't prosecuted, though. Too many wealthy and powerful Calrics had been involved in the arena. Prosecuting Vex would mean exposing them all. Instead, he was quietly ruined and forgotten. Grix disappeared. Some said he fled to a distant system. Others said less pleasant things. No one really cared what happened to him. Dr. Nix made a different choice. He contacted the human government and asked for asylum. He explained that he wanted to make up for what had happened, wanted to help. The humans accepted. He was on the Fortitude now, working with the human doctors, sharing knowledge, trying to build bridges between species. He approached Hana one day in the medical bay. She tensed when she saw him, remembering he was Calrix, the same species as Vex and Grix. "I wanted to apologize," Nick said carefully, "for what my people did to you, for what I didn't stop." Hana studied him for a moment. "You called for help. You sent the message that brought them to get me. It should have been sooner. I should have done more." "You did what you could when it mattered," Hana said. "That's more than most." Nix nodded, grateful. "If there's anything I can do to help you heal, please ask." "Actually," Hana said slowly, "there is. There was another prisoner in the cells, Rin, a Talvori. She was kind to me. Can you find out what happened to her?" Nix checked the records. "She's alive. She testified against Vex in the arena operation. She was released 2 weeks ago. Can we contact her? Can we help her?" "I'll make the arrangements." 1 week later, Rin arrived on the Fortitude. She was nervous around so many humans, but when she saw Hana, her expression brightened. They talked for hours. Rin asked if she could visit Earth, wanted to see the death world that created beings like Hana. The humans welcomed her. The Fortitude entered Earth's orbit. Hana stood in the transport as it descended, watching through the windows as familiar landscapes appeared. Mountains, oceans, cities, home. They landed at a government facility. Medical personnel waited to examine her. Government officials wanted to debrief her. News reporters wanted interviews. Everyone wanted something from her. But Quan and Gina stayed close, ran interference, made sure she wasn't overwhelmed. They had become friends during the voyage. Not just rescuers, but actual friends. That mattered more to Hana than she could express. After the initial chaos settled, Hana had a meeting with a government official. The woman was polite but direct. "We're prepared to offer you full support," the official said. "Medical care, therapy, education, housing. Whatever you need. You've been through something terrible. We want to help you rebuild your life." "Thank you," Hana said. "I have a request, though." "Name it." "I want to join the security forces. I want to help find other humans who were captured." "Who are still out there," the official paused. "Are you sure? After everything you've been through, you want to go back out there?" "Because of everything I've been through," Hana corrected. "I know what it's like to be alone, scared, waiting for help. There are others like me. I want to find them. I want to bring them home." The official studied her for a long moment. "We'll need to evaluate you. Physical training, psychological assessment. It won't be easy." "Nothing worthwhile is easy," Hana said. 2 months later, Hana stood in a training facility wearing the uniform of the Human Recovery Forces. It was a new unit, created specifically to extract captured humans from hostile situations. Quan was the commander. Gina was the training officer. Hana was one of 12 recruits. The training was hard. Harder than the arena in some ways because it was constant, pushing her to grow rather than just survive. But she had support now. She had people who understood. She had a purpose. On her first day off, Hana visited the memorial garden that had been built for the colonists who died when she was captured. She found her brother's name on the wall. She touched it gently and whispered a promise. She would make sure no other families were broken the way hers had been. Ambassador Yong returned to the Imperium with a message from Earth's government. He delivered it to the High Council personally. "Humanity seeks peaceful cooperation with all species," he said. "We want to be friends, allies, partners in building a better galaxy. But we also want to be clear about something. We do not forget our people. We do not abandon them, and we do not forgive easily when they are harmed. He paused, letting the words sink in. You've seen what one untrained human can do when pushed to her limits. That was a civilian, a teenager, someone's daughter. Imagine what our trained soldiers can do. Imagine what our military forces can do. You don't have to imagine, actually. We've sent you our history files. Study them. Learn from them. The council members shifted uncomfortably. But here's the important part, Young continued, his voice becoming gentler. We don't want to be your enemy. We want to be your friends. Treat us with respect. Treat our people with dignity. Honor your treaties and your laws. Do that, and you'll find humans to be the most loyal allies you've ever known. We're the species that forms packs, bonds, families across all boundaries. We'll defend our friends as fiercely as we defend ourselves. 6 months after the arena incident, Hana stood on the bridge of a recovery ship. They had received a signal about a human prisoner on a mining station in a distant system. The ship was approaching the station now. Quan stood beside her. Gina was at tactical. Rin, now an official member of their team, was at communications. Dr. Nix was in medical bay, ready for any injuries. Are you ready? Quan asked Hana. She checked her equipment one more time. Smiled. Not the predator smile from the arena, but something warmer, more human. I'm ready. Let's bring them home. The ship moved forward through the stars. Behind them, Earth shone blue and beautiful. Ahead, someone was waiting for rescue, hoping that help would come. And help was coming. Because humans didn't abandon their own. The age of humans being seen as prey had ended. The age of humans as protectors had begun. And the galaxy was learning what it meant when a Deathworld species chose not to be dangerous, but to be heroic instead. That was the real power of humanity. Not the violence, but the choice to use their strength to protect rather than harm, to rescue rather than conquer, to build bridges rather than walls. And in that choice, they became something greater than just another species in the galaxy. They became hope.